Hi, this is James Tanner, and welcome to another quick view of genealogy. Today, we're going to be talking about some recent additions to the FamilySearch Family Tree program. They've implemented a record search function that will allow you to search your records directly from the family tree individual detail page. So let's take a look at Family Tree. I've opened up two copies of the program, two windows of the program in the same browser, and notice that I'm already signed into the program. So I'm going to go and open the family tree in each of the browsers. There's a reason for this, and I'll show you how it works as we go along. You can do this with separate tabs, but it's awfully more convenient if you use two different windows open at the same time with versions of the program. Once you're signed into the program, when you open the second window, you'll already be signed in, so that's not a problem. And we're going to navigate to the same individual on both sides of the program. In this case, we're going to go to Henry Christian over 71 grade. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side, so we have identical screens open. Now I'm going to scroll down on the right-hand screen until I can see how many sources I have. And the reason for this is I'm going to be adding sources to this individual from FamilySearch Family Tree, and obviously I don't want to duplicate any of those sources. So now I'm going to check on the other side. They're the same, obviously, the same person. What I focus on here now is the search records function, which is next to research help and a new link at the on the right hand side of the person's detail page. Basically, when I click that link, it's going to use the information that's been filled in the file, including the name of the person, to find additional records in FamilySearch historical record collections. Now you have to remember when it does this kind of search that it's looking for only indexed records. If the record is only an image, there's no way in the world that it's going to find that record unless you actually do the search in that particular database. So because a significant number of the records on FamilySearch are available only as images, this search is really quite limited and only searches a partial number of the records. But it's still valuable for any reason. Now if we click on that link of search results on my left-hand screen, you'll see that it'll search all the historical records that are available and have been indexed and give us several suggestions. Now over on the right-hand side, the reason why I have this second copy of the individual up is because I can see here by reference that I have already found the 1900, the 1910, the 1870, and the 1880 U.S. censuses, virtually all the censuses, and when this person was alive. But there are other records out there, and I'm going to attach one of those records to my great-grandfather. In this case, there's an Arizona death record, so let's have a look at that record. Clicking on the name, it shows his parents, the event date of his death, where he died. This is an additional record. Now you might question as to why I need to add an additional record when I already have a death date. One of the functions of this program is the ability of adding sources. And because there have been numerous additions and corrections to the program, to the data over the last 150 years, in order to prevent the types of variations that we've seen, I think it's important to provide as many sources as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and add this source, make sure going down through the list that I don't already have it. And it doesn't appear that I have the death record. Now over here on the death record on the left-hand side, you'll see a big blue button that says Attach to Family Tree. Couldn't be easier than that. I click on that button, comes up with a selection confirming that I want to attach the record to my person. If I was not sure of what I was doing, I could check to make sure I'm adding it to the person with the same ID number, and I am, and then I click Attach. That's all there is to the process of adding a record. Now when I go back over here to the right-hand side and look for the record, it's not there. Simple reason is because this particular screen has been open since I began this research process, and it needs to be refreshed. So I'm going to right-click on the screen and reload or refresh the screen. By refreshing the screen, what I've done now is add in that record that was automatically added to through the process of clipping. Now you'll notice over on the left-hand side that the button has gone away and it says View in Family Tree. Well, basically what that tells you is that that record is already available in Family Tree. If there isn't a button to add the record, then the record has already been found. Now, for a variety of reasons, FamilySearch is encouraging those who are adding sources to add individual sources for each person, so that in future, for use with future program features. So now I have added a different source, and if I go back over to the right-hand side and click on that source, I'll see that the entire source record has been added, including a link to the original source record that will open up in a separate window. Go ahead and close that one. Now, one more step in the process is to add a tag. When you click on the tag reference here, it gives you name, gender, birth, christening, death, burial. In this case, the death record here is a resource or source for the name, for the gender. It does not have any birth information, but it does have the death information. Additionally, it does not have, it has the place of death, but does not have any further information concerning the burial. So those are the things that this particular record apply to. And when I tag that record and close it, and go up to the top of the detail page, you'll see that Henry Christian Ovison now has that particular record is tagged as part of his name information. Now I could also go down, let's close that before I leave it, could also go down and tag other records. For instance, here we have a link to a grave marker in Find a Grave. If I tag that, once again, I can tag the name, the gender, and it has a birth date and a death date and a burial place, and so that tag could be added to all of the records that are available. So now when I go up here to death, for example, I'll see that the grave marker record from Find a Grave has been included as one of the records that are marked and tagged to that event on the person record above. Okay, now we need to say a little bit more about sources. You can close these sources. There are basically two types of sources that you see here. Those with the tree icon on the left-hand side of the source are records that are obtained from FamilySearch Family Tree. The ones with the world icon come from external sources, such as the one I just looked at from Find a Grave, and this one, which is a reference to a book that is online. Now, if I go to this WorldCat reference on this particular book, we'll find out that there is no that the WorldCat reference does not show that this book is online. If I view all editions and formats in WorldCat, you'll see it says book, 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 and it shows a microfiche copy of it. Now, if I go back over to the screen for FamilySearch and do a search for that book that I just looked up in WorldCat, show you something that's quite interesting about these different resources. I'm just going to put in Jarvis, which is in the name of the book, rather than the whole book title. You'll notice that there are 4,329 records for Jarvis, and right down here, one of the first ones is the George Jarvis and Joseph George DeFreeze genealogy. By clicking on that link, FamilySearch will download an entire digital copy of that particular book. So even though I've resourced that book out to WorldCat, it's not necessarily mean that there is not a digital copy of that book available. And considering the size of the FamilySearch collection of digitized books, at well over 100,000 books, I would always suggest searching under FamilySearch books for a record. Now, unfortunately, at this point, it doesn't appear that there's a way to link the book reference directly through Family Tree to your source record. This only seems to work with historical record sources. So hopefully in the future they'll implement a link, an automatic, semi-automatic link between the two portions of the program. Waiting here to watch the download of the book, just so you can see how this comes up. It actually shows the entire digitized book in a PDF copy, which can be saved to your desktop and then searched using Adobe Acrobat Reader or a PDF reading program. Well, that pretty well wraps up today's quick view in genealogy, and I hope that you have the opportunity to come back and view either the existing quick views or ones that I'll put up in the future. Watch this load, this last segment load, and then we'll see the book here. Here's the entire book with all of the photographs. It's a digitized copy of the book. You can read it online or download it, as I said, as a PDF copy to your computer. Thanks again for watching.